Peace to all my peoples in the ethos. Loving all my New York City people through all the water and the disorder. This one's for y'all. Let's go. Peace, everybody out there. It's the Real HD Show. It's a show that brings you the good, that bad, that ugly. But we heal it with freedom music. I'm your host, Vic. And tonight is a especially interesting show because of the tragedies and the flooding that happened down in New York City. We're going to get into that. And also because of some really peculiar things that are happening in the news. So get ready to have this show light your fuse, but we got to get into something before we get knee deep into the particulars of the show. I'm gonna share my screen, and this is for everybody down in the NY. Got a lot of family down there, got a lot of relatives, got a lot of loved ones I grew up with through all the years that I've been living. And I have something on here, and this is resources for victims of New York's flooding, housing, mental health support, and insurance. With New York City becoming a victim of heavy rains and life-threatening floods a few days ago, people were left with damaged properties, high stress levels. Thankfully, no one died or got seriously injured, at least according to published news. That's a little wavy, not really sure about that, can't verify that. If you're a victim of flooding, resources are available to you, housing and food. First of all, you have an emergency due to a loss of housing, I suggest you contact the Red Cross, ask for help. They may be a temporary accommodation for you, as well, supplies, foods, and other necessities available. I'm looking through their shelter map. Let's pop that up really quick. Because people need to be able to get a place where they can rest their head. So there's many more, but here's just a couple. Marham Neck Pavilion in Harbor Island, New York. New Hyde Parkway Memorial High School is another New York City shelter. So let's get back to the article and you can find shelters near you, and you should if you are in need. Another organization is Catholic Christian Charities with locations throughout the city. They have housing and food available for those who are in need. Many shelters available in New York. You can find the closest to you by visiting here, New York 311, nyc.gov, BMCC, and city. Number 2, stress and mental health assistance. Listen, if your home is unaffected and you're totally fine physically, your mental health may be at stake. As someone who has anxiety, I get it. So if you feared for your loved ones or were simply upset about the flooding of your beloved city, you have every reason to speak to a mental health professional. SAMHSA, SAMHSA, is a great place specializing in disaster relief counseling. New York City also has Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Please, people, don't be afraid. I know these things are people who lost homes, cars, loved ones. Please don't be afraid. You can't be everybody's rock. Reach out and let somebody know you need somebody to talk to. Sometimes what gets you through is just a joke. Sometimes that's enough fuel in the tank for you to just keep going when things just seem crazy. Number 3, insurance. Depending on what kind of insurance you have, you may be eligible for relief. But even if you have none, thanks to FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, you might get approved for disaster relief. Here's a link to FEMA, and you can read about it online. There's a national flood insurance program you can look into as well. General info on flooding. You can read books about flood disaster plans, response and relief, damages and preventative measures, what to do and what not to do, how to return damaged property, where to start. Here are a few links. NewYorkCity.gov flooding, CDC.gov floods, New York and floods, and understanding flood insurance. So those, I had to put that up because, we never know who we're going to impact. We never know who we're going to touch. We never know who is going to be in need. So we got to go there and make sure that we look out for people. We love on one another. This is the time to do that. Let's put the New York selfishness and the New York busy aside and be there for one another. All right. So we have a long Elders and Ancestors blueprint. So I'm going to get to a quick Lit City report. Lit City report is the wacky, the wild, the wonderful things that keep our world turning, and we don't often get to see a lot of that. And of course, with the events of recent, of course, there's probably a lot we can we need to focus on some get happy stuff, some stuff that makes our life better, more manageable. I'm trying to find this link so I could put up the Lit City report and get to it. Do it. All right. So let us know, man. Do you like the Lit City report? Do you like what we offer when we bring you the Lit City report? And if you do, please put a comment and a like, because we're about to get into something really interesting with the Lit City report, bringing some valuable information. And this, is something that is shared, and it is, kind of part and parcel to a lot of Black people, especially those of the last 15 years, because autism is on the rise, and it affects tens of thousands of people all over the country. A lot of babies being born autistic, and it changes lifestyles. It manipulates families. And if you're not careful, you may find yourself in a situation that you don't know what to do with. But let me see if my screen share is up. No, it's not. Let me move on in. Boom. And now you are where I am. Okay, great. So this is our Lit City report. Meet George D. Williams, MS, an adult autism expert from Denver, Colorado, who experience with his son has inspired him to educate others about hidden talents that autistic people have. In his new book, Mount Up with Wings, he explores the need to integrate autistic talent into mainstream society and teach others how to live and work with the autism community. George comments, quote, adults in the spectrum face obstacles across the entire lifespan. We cannot achieve full inclusion until the needs of African Americans and minorities with autism are included in the broader narrative. George also says that there's a quiet transition taking place when approximately 50,000 teens with autism move into adulthood each year. Wow. In recent years, the burgeoning adult autistic population has created unprecedented challenges for countries worldwide. They are primarily areas of concern related to autistic adults are employment, housing, healthcare, and financial planning. Due to a combination of factors, many adults live with autism and have struggled with adapting to daily activities in society. He comments, we have a group of uniquely talented adults who simply don't fit into a world not designed to accommodate the neurological differences. Facts. According to the autism author and animal behaviorist Temple, by cultivating autistic mind on a brain by brain, strength by strength basis, we can reconceive autistic teens and adults in jobs and not have them seen as charity cases, but as valuable, essential contributors to society. Let me see if there's something on what he's going to do. George D. Williams currently lives in Denver, Colorado, and is committed to the needs of autistic adults, serving as an author and a speaker. He's a graduate from Virginia Commonwealth University. Mount Up with Wings is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other digital formats. Now, I know everybody probably knows someone who's struggling with autism. And you often ask yourself, what can I do to help? What can I do to lend a hand? And a lot of us come up with empty answers. So the fallback becomes feel sorry for the person that you're dealing with and treat them less than, or treat them like they don't have the capability or they're not valuable. And I know in our heart of hearts, we don't want to do that. I know we want, if we had it our way, we would have all our family members and loved ones that suffer with autism or any neurological disorders be part and parcel with everything we're doing within our family, our loved ones, and how we move and how we fellowship in our community. Yeah, man. So that was our Lit City report on the Real HD Show, all about Mount Up with Wings, a new perspective on valuing the talents of people who have autism. And our community, man, I've been a teacher for 20 years, and I've seen the spectrum. I'm seeing it from mild to super severe. And I didn't know the numbers were 50,000, but to understand that 50,000 teenagers who have autism transition into adulthood every year is out of control. We got to help out. We got to do what we got to do. Lit City Report. Glad Mount Up with Wings as a book is out, and everybody can run and grab it and help their young person move into a better space, autism or no autism. Because let's face it, man, us just being people ourselves is hard enough. Balancing finances, balancing family, balancing loved ones, balancing job, balancing all that life has to offer is hard enough, and we don't get it right. So we definitely got to help those who are afflicted and want to get it right by having them join us in that regard. But guess what, y'all? It is time for Elders and Ancestors Blueprint. And we're going to do a mashup smash up with the Stolen Legacy moment. And why am I talking about that? Because it's National Hoodoo Heritage Month. That's right. National Hoodoo Heritage Month. That's right. That's a cultural, spiritual science that we created through necessity, through struggle, through strife, through plight, and through that connection with the motherland that stayed near and dear and resonates through us every day in every way. You know what I mean? And that we really don't, look at hard enough, and we really don't appreciate enough. And you can see hoodoo has evolved from what it was on the continent to what it is now. And hoodoo gets a bad name. It gets a bad rap. It gets misnomered and mismonikered and all sorts of things that make it opposing to what the Christian class of people want to promote in this country. So we're going to get into a little bit of a clip for this that will explain some of the origins of hoodoo, and it's going to be in the Ifa school of thought, because that is the original, that is the origin of hoodoo or voodoo or Usharia or Santeria or Yoruba. It is in the Ifa value system. So we're going to watch a little video. Might be about 5 minutes. Hang in there with me. Don't go nowhere. We got mad people on Mob Crush. We got mad people on Bigo. We got mad people on Twitch. We need to hang in there. Rock with us. We're the Real HD Show with this video on hoodoo. Check it out.
But I've noticed a very welcome uptick recently. Oya is one of many Orisha, or deities who can move between the human and divine realms. With control over the wind, a reputation as a fierce warrior, and a responsibility to watch over the threshold of life and death, Oya is one of the more formidable Yoruba deities, but she is by no means the most powerful. According to Yoruba mythology, the universe and all of the forces therein were created by a single supreme being, most often known as Olofin. Also known as Olorun or Olodumare, this genderless creator god is all-knowing, all-powerful, and eternal. It might be tempting to compare Olofin to the Abrahamic god, but they are a unique being, and no other deity is like them.
Well, genderless is not quite accurate. Oludumare, Olu, is in the masculine, just to kind of clarify. It's a young sister. She may not have all the information, but Oludumare is, according to the Oshari, according to Ifa, Oludumare is all, but he is often depicted in the masculine. Just want to clarify, because we get a lot of false equivalents out here. Continue.
Beginning of time, Olofin crafted the universe and invented day and night. They gave divine energy called Ashe to all the objects and beings and breathed life, or Emi, into every living thing. They did not, however, want to manage every living thing, so Olofin created the Orisha to act as intermediaries between Orun, the spiritual heavenly realm, and Aya, the world of tangible, visible things. There are hundreds of Orisha in Yoruba folklore, though it may be impossible to give an exact count because their characteristics are malleable. A single Orisha's name, gender, and parentage can vary depending on when and where you hear the story, though their core traits remain largely unchanged. Some of the Orisha, like Abatala and Aranmila, are primordial figures who were involved in the creation of the world. Others, like Oduduwa or Shango, were mortal ancestors whose deeds led them to be deified into the religion. And there were many Orisha who personified aspects of nature, like the spirits who embody the numerous rivers and lakes in the world. Before the world was created, Olafin and the Orisha lived in the sky around a young baobab tree. Below them stretched a vast ocean ruled by the Orisha Olokun. Most of the Orisha were content to explore the sky and enjoy a life of luxury around their baobab tree, but Abatala wanted more. He looked at the vast ocean below and thought, I could make something with that, so he asked Olafin if he could build a resting place for living things. Olafin gave him permission to make land, but left it to Abatala to figure out how. Abatala went to Aranmila, the Orisha of prophecy, for guidance. Aranmila, whose power of divination made him the sole witness to Olafin's creation of the universe, told Abatala to fashion a long gold chain, fill a snail shell with sand, and gather a chicken and a date palm nut. Abatala traveled the sky, asking the other Orisha for their spare gold, which he forged into a chain to carry him to Olokun's ocean. When Abatala climbed to the end of the chain, he found that he still had some distance to go. From his position in the sky, Aranmila told Abatala to pour sand from his shell onto the ocean and immediately drop the chicken. When it landed, the chicken began to kick the sand around until it formed a huge landmass with hills and valleys. Abatala jumped down from his chain and planted his date palm nut, which immediately sprouted into a full tree. That spot became Ifa, the legendary cradle of Yoruba civilization that archaeologists believe was an urban center by 800 CE. Abatala made some wine from the fruit of his tree, and after partaking in perhaps too many libations, began to mold people out of clay. Many of the figurines were imperfect, with missing limbs or unintended bends, but Olafin breathed Emi into them anyway. When Abatala saw his creations come to life, he vowed never to drink again, and assumed responsibility for protecting humans with physical differences. In some stories, Abatala got drunk before he could complete his task of making land, and his younger brother, the Orisha Oduduwa, took over for him. Regardless of who made the land, Yoruba lore tells of Oduduwa, or Odua, the first king of Ifa from whom the Yoruba people are descended. Olokun was furious that her ocean had been encroached upon without her permission, not even a heads up from Abatala, so she sent great waves to flood the land. Those lucky enough to reach high hills beseeched Eshu, the messenger Orisha of roads and doors, to intervene on their behalf. Eshu told Aranmila about the flood, and he used
Eshu is also responsible for wind and air and travel.
Abatala's golden chain to climb down and cast spells until Olokun's water retreated. Notice that the people begged Eshu to take care of the flood, not the supreme creator. As the messenger Orisha, Eshu stands watch at the boundary between the realms Orun and Aya, the two halves of the Yoruba cosmos. Eshu ferries notes and sacrifices across the threshold and looks over ritual practices. According to a Yoruba saying, if Eshu is not acknowledged during a ritual, then life is the bailing of waters with a sieve. In other words, if you're not going to honor Eshu, why even bother? This makes even more sense when you consider that Eshu is the trickster of Yoruba mythology. Ritual sacrifice and prayer are just two of the ways mortals can connect to the Orisha's wisdom and power. The other is through divination that lets humans see the universal forces that influence their lives. So Aranmila is the other Orisha who sits between Orun and Aya as Olafin intended. Now, I don't know from personal experience, but any parent can tell you that just because you give a being life doesn't mean they'll always follow your directions. The Orisha are no different, and in one Yoruba myth, they decided they were tired of listening to Olafin. What could a being who lived so far away from the world possibly know about how to run it? They believed they could do a better job maintaining the world without Oliphant's pesky influence. Instead of punishing the Orisha for their disrespect, Oliphant held the rains back from the world. Rivers and lakes evaporated away, crops withered, and animals and humans alike died of thirst. They cried to the Orisha as they had always done when distressed, "What have we done to anger you?" The humans never imagined that it was the distant creator god who was causing their pain. The Orisha begged for Oliphant's forgiveness, but their cries couldn't carry far enough to be heard. Many of the Orisha tried to reach Oliphant's heavenly home, but they tired before they reached it. Beautiful Ashan, the youngest of the Orisha who looks after the world's sweet waters, wanted to try. The other Orisha was skeptical that someone so young could accomplish such a difficult task, but Ashan insisted. She turned herself into a beautiful peacock and flew towards Oliphant's distant home.
The way to pronounce that is Oshun. She said Ashin. So if you're familiar with the Ori, if you're familiar with the Orishas, and names sound a little, she's using alternate pronunciations and alternate ways to say the same word.
As she flew, her feathers began to fall off, and as she passed the fiery sun, her feathers smoldered away. She flew and flew and flew until she didn't think she could fly anymore, but she finally reached Oliphant. By the time she collapsed at their feet, Ashan's feathers were all gone. Instead of a beautiful peacock, she was an ugly vulture. Oliphant was touched by Ashan's sacrifice, by her courage and persistence, and agreed to send the rains back to the world. For her troubles, Oliphant told Ashan that she alone, as a vulture, could communicate directly with them. After this tale, humans can commune with the Orisha through Eshu, but anyone who wants to reach Oliphant must go through Ashan. Given her beauty and proximity to the Supreme Creator, it's no surprise that Ashan was one of the wives of Shango, the woman-loving Orisha of thunder and lightning.
All right, we could go on. That is on PBS, and I did that in honor of the Hoodoo Heritage Month, because a lot of us are running around here with false ideas about what hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, Ifa, what all of it is about. That's a really dope. It's on YouTube as well. You can go on YouTube and find that particular vid and get into the second half of it as well. And like any other part of the show, we got to get into our AAT report. Let's go.
A woman found parasites in recently purchased salmon at Whole Foods. In the video that she shared on TikTok, parasites can be seen moving in the salmon. "So glad these little guys got to enjoy my dinner," she wrote in the caption. "Thanks Whole Foods." The presence of the parasites is shocking, but users were quick to point out that salmon is frequently loaded with parasites, and as soon as the salmon is cooked, would be safe to eat.
Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. And we brought that to you because all that glitters is not gold. Just because you have a store that's high priced and kind of, posh in its presentation and, costs a lot of money for the regular of us to go to, doesn't mean it's always good for you. And doesn't mean it's always right. And doesn't mean it's always on point. So please, wherever you go, wherever you get your food, inspect your food, make sure your food is coming from a great source, ask questions, be your own advocate in that way. But we're not done with a T report, healthy, wealthier, and wiser, because there are other things to be informed on, going on. Here's another one Fair Use, Fair Use, that talks about Chick-fil-A. Check it out.
Drinking some coffee, and I was looking at the line at Chick-fil-A. 3 lines starting at 10:30 in the morning, and I stayed there for an hour. It never let up. I said, ain't no way in hell that a chicken sandwich tastes that good. So I said, let me see. I wonder what they're putting in it. And I started doing the research right at the time that, you remember, in the hood, there was this argument, Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A, and everybody was going back and forth, and you seen people at Popeyes, man got shot. Man shot somebody because they didn't have no more chicken sandwiches left. I said, this ain't no regular chicken sandwiches. So I went and looked up Popeyes chicken sandwich. Come to find out, they have over 40 ingredients in the Popeyes chicken sandwich. 32 of them were man-made chemicals. And I said, well, let's see what Chick-fil-A has. Over 50 chemicals in the chicken sandwich. Over 40 of them were man-made chemicals. I said, so hell, this is a dope sandwich. So they really are flipping birds over there.
Yeah, man. That's Chick-fil-A. Just like Pepsi. Put that stuff in it to keep you coming back. So just really, really be careful when you are feeding your loved ones this stuff. McDonald's, Burger King, any of those fast food retailers, because you never know what you're eating on. You never know. So now this one comes 6 negative side effects of eating instant noodles. Number 1, high sodium content. Many brands of instant noodles contain flavor packets that are packed with sodium to enhance the taste. For example, a single serving of ramen noodles has 700 milligrams of sodium, which is over 32% of the recommended daily intake. That's poor nutritional value. So I know, based on some of our budgets, and because it has a pleasing taste, that a lot of us think that it's an alternative to feed our families. But wait, it gets worse. Instant noodles are made from refined flour, which lacks essential nutrients, fiber, protein, and healthy fats. This means that they do not provide adequate nutrition, and consuming them regularly can lead to deficiencies. For example, a single serving of top ramen chicken flavor contains only 2 grams of protein, which is 4% of the recommended daily intake. And sometimes this is all young people or people, period, have to eat. It's linked to obesity. The sodium, which makes the body retain water. A cluster of conditions that include obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. For example, a single serving of ramen chicken flavor has 26 grams of carbohydrates, which is 9% of the recommended daily intake. So you can see that none of this is good for you, because nutritionally, it just doesn't do it. And it said that people in South Korea found that people who ate instant noodles or more than twice a week had a higher risk of metabolic syndrome. Wow. Risk of cancer. A study found that women who ate instant noodles more than twice a week had a 68% higher risk of developing stomach cancer. Crazy, man. Instant noodles had 140 times the amount of BPA in packaging compared to a similar type of soup made from fresh noodles. Now, what I can say for a lot of Asian people is they make their own noodles. Of course, those who are poor and those who can't afford to buy their own noodles and buy the ingredients to make their noodles probably eat Top Ramen. Bad move. It's better off that you spend the money to get the healthier food and get less of that than to buy the cheap food and pay heavy doctor bills later. Digestive problems, we went through that. And what I wanted to tell you about this is the impact on mental health. Instant noodles may have negative impact on mental health because they're high in sodium, which can disrupt the balance of chemicals in the brain. Consuming instant noodles, for example, twice a week is linked to depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. Sounds like the same thing we talked about when we talked about frying chicken with vegetable oil or frying oil, and it turns at a certain Fahrenheit, it's linked to mental health problems. In conclusion, instant noodles may be convenient and an expensive meal option. They come with a range of health risks. It's important to consume them in moderation and to supplement your diet with nutrient-dense foods such as fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Now, we're going to get up out of here. I'm going to stop sharing. Did I share? No, I kept the thing up. So we're going to get out of here. We're going to get back live. So what I want to say about this, man, we have a prison culture in our community. We do. So many of us have gone to prison, had to survive prison, got little or no, help coming out of prison, and retained so many super bad habits. And one of the bad habits that they retain by means of necessity, they think they're a top ramen chef. You know what I'm talking about. They'll come home, an uncle, a big cousin, whatever, brother. You don't know how to make no noodles. Let me make it. And then they make the noodles and they make it packed with all this shit that's just damaging to the body. So the ramen was damaging already, as you found, right? And then they put their own prison spin on it. And I'm not faulting them. This is not me judging. This is just me talking about the savage inequalities that exist when brothers go in the bin. It's not a good thing when they go up north and they learn a lot of bad habits and they don't know how to reacclimate themselves to regular life. They don't know that a salad is better than all of that. They think all those things are for weak men and for weak this and for weak that. And of course, their taste buds change and they develop a palate for ramen noodles, which they get off a commissary, which is nothing but another pimp juice financial hustle for the prison industrial complex. So, if you ever get a loved one that come home and he's talking about a ramen chef, look the other way, grab an apple, grab a big old glass of water. You won't even miss what he's trying to do. And tell him to grab an apple and a big old glass of water, and he probably won't miss what he's trying to do and share with you. I mean, I wouldn't be harsh on the brother, but I certainly would be. I would tell bro, pump the brakes, and he wants to share. Maybe y'all could share other things instead of that particular item. All right, man. So that was our AAT report, Healthy, Wealthier, and Wiser, because we need that cell power because of that catastrophic event that happened a couple years ago that the world is still healing from. And I am here for it. I'm here for the healing. Let it begin. And I want to help as much as possible with the Real HD Show. So what man, let us know what you think about the Real HD Show so far. You know what I mean? We had our advertisements, all healthy, all natural things that you can get into. Rest and relaxation is very important. And so is all natural supplements when you need that push. And then we got into Hoodoo Heritage Month, which is an honor and a harken back to Ifa of the motherland. And we saw a video honoring that. And we also put up some disaster relief efforts and some disaster relief pictures because New York City, my hometown, has suffered so greatly due to this flood and due to everything that it brought on. And before we get further, I want to make sure I spin this video real quick because Wednesday is a big deal. I hope everybody stays safe. Everybody stays, on point. Make sure you get your Faraday bag that blocks the 5G and 6G from corrupting your digital electronics that costs an arm and a leg. And we want to just put this joint up one more time that talks about what's going to happen next Wednesday on the 4th. And everybody should spread this so that everybody's aware and prepared. Real HD Show, check it out.
I was asked to share the following message with the world. Remember, I'm only the messenger. What you choose to do with this information is up to you and your own free will. On October 4th at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time, the emergency broadcast system will be activated across the entire United States under the leadership of FEMA, disguised as a test. However, this test will be used to send a specific high-frequency signal through devices like smartphones, radios, and TVs with the intention of activating graphene oxide and other nanoparticles that have been inserted into billions of human beings around the world through the obvious mediums. Everyone will be affected regardless of your status. The plan is to also do this in Israel at the same exact time. There are certain organizations that are doing their best to stop this in both Israel and the United States. Hopefully they will be able to stop this, and stopping this in Israel looks promising, but stopping this in the United States is still up in the air. This will also include Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and Alaska. If the October 4th date does not occur for any reason, the backup plan will be to do it on October 11th at the same time. In the case that this is not able to be stopped, I ask you all to shut off your phones and all other relevant devices at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for a period of 2 hours to be safe. This type of wavelength can affect us physically, mentally, and emotionally. I urge you all to protect yourself, and I ask you all to share this video far and wide. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we back, Real HD Show. So that I've been throwing this around all month, all September, in various ways. We talked about it. I give updates. I talk. If anything that we found out is that the powers that be, their leadership is inept, and they want to look out for themselves first and foremost. We can tell because right before the Rona, you had a run on CEOs and corporate executives, getting their, cashing in their golden parachute and quitting their jobs, like straight away. Like they knew something we didn't know, because they did. And then, of course, afterwards, a worldwide pandemic ensued. Hundreds of thousands of people all over the world passed away. And things were absolutely crazy. Loved ones. It's just nuts on nuts on nuts. So I'm saying that to say this. Let's be prepared. Let's not be scared. Let's be prepared. Start, at the very least, protect your electronic products, your digital products, because when they make this blast, whatever type of high frequency pitch from the Federal Emergency Broadcast System, there's a good chance, like an update, it may affect the viability and the functional capacity of your product. And of course, that's thousands and hundreds of dollars down the drain if your product does not work past that point. And of course, they won't tell you that that's going to happen. You just have to suffer it. And then, like the New York City flood, you got to scramble to make things viable, protect yourself, protect your family, and do the things that are necessary to keep yourself moving. So many things in our society are so dependent on these digital products. Our mail, there's no more real mail. But you get mail twice a week now, once a week. All your mail comes through email now, right? So what happens if that's down? How do you pay your bills? We pay bills, our banking, all online. All that stuff is attached to the online capacity that our digital products have. So please get you a Faraday bag at the very least. Get you something lead and put it over your digital products so that on the 4th at around 2 o'clock, that doesn't disrupt and cause a whole lot of anguish and pain. You might even lose your job. Like, if you work from home or you work on the road and you don't have access to Wi-Fi because your product is broken, your boss may not understand that you're not able to do your job because your digital product isn't working. They think you're slacking off. They think, oh man, I knew we shouldn't have, instituted this new work thing and we can't even get responses from the people we need, and it have nothing to do with being your fault. So at least get you a Faraday bag, which is a combination of aluminum, lead, and some other vital materials that are going to block off this emergency signal that you're going to get. And at the very least, turn your products off. Turn them off between the hours of, I would say, 1 and like 5 p.m. I would turn them off. And I wouldn't turn them on again until the workday's over, only because that's when they're trying to catch most people with that emergency signal. And we don't know the effects that this is going to have on these crucial digital products. But yeah, man, let's get into the nitty of the gritty of things. And we are here for the flood update and weird news. You know what I mean? I hope I get to the weird news because I want to really spend some time, focusing on New York and what New York is going through. New York was one of the places during the Rona that got really hit hard during COVID, right? With so many people being in such close quarter contact, so many people caught Rona, many people moved out of the state. And I just want to highlight that because we are New Yorkers are considered, and the state for that matter is considered the best state in the world, nobody really feels sorry for what we're going through when we do go through something. If the grid goes out, Hurricane Sandy, whatever is going on, nobody really feels for us the way we need to. And we need love too. You heard Adams, he's crying about the immigrant crisis and the immigrant outstanding numbers that are going on. So, I just want to reiterate, man, New York City declared for a state of emergency. And why did they do that? Because the torrential rain created flooding all over the city. Yeah, that's 28th Street. That is 28th Street. Looking like you could surf on it. It's out of control. It's out of control. And we had some loved ones out in Brooklyn give us a bird's eye view. And this is what it looks like from a bird's eye view. Stop it. That looks like soup. Crazy, man. How much damage is done to these vehicles and these businesses and everything. It's just nuts. And then even the airport was flooded. This is LaGuardia Airport. This is what LaGuardia Airport, which is right off the water, but still out of control, right? Bronx, this is what the Bronx looked like. I guess that brother's pointing out maybe his vehicle or maybe his wife's vehicle or whatever the case may be. Man, it's crazy. And you see they have on their masks right now. And they need that for more than one reason. They not only do they need that, and I hope they don't suffer from the volatile organic compounds that are within the masks, but hopefully those masks help them move and be safe from pneumonia, dysentery, forget COVID, all kind of other stuff that could be lurking out there. You know what I mean? mold and bacteria. Oh, y'all be careful out there, man. This is what one person's apartment looked like. My cousin's apartment flooded all the way to the roof of the downstairs floor. Windows burst as they were sleeping. What the bluck? While they were sleeping. Yo, that's out of control. Man, that's on some dystopian Walking Dead stuff, man. You waking out of your sleep to chaos. Crazy, man. Love on each other, man. Support each other, man. You know, if somebody got a plate of food, give somebody half of it. Like, you know, offer somebody a plate of food if you got a whole pot. Like, let's be for real with each other right now. Leave that selfish New York shit out of the way and really help each other, man. 6 degrees of separation, man. I'd have been down there with my family. You know, it was really you know, crazy decision to move up to the Rock. And a lot went into that. It was almost a negative to do that, right? So we want to make sure that we're loving on one another and that we're helping each other. And then, of course, here's a picture of what the common subway looked like. Wow, do you see that door open? Do you see the amount of water pouring over the door of the subway? And those doors are touch sensitive. So those doors did not close because the water probably was reacting with the sensors in the door. And oh my gosh, it's probably nuts. How did people get home? You know, they depend on public transportation to get them back and forth to the farther reaches of the boroughs. How did they get home? Crazy, man. Man, we love y'all, man. We love y'all down in New York. We know y'all waist or even neck deep in it. We sorry if anybody in your unit, in your family, and your tribe got hurt or worse. And you know, we know that the loss of property could be shocking. It could be everything for everybody. Like, you know, people need to get to work. People need their vehicles to get themselves to work so they could provide for their people. Whew, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. But we tough, man. We survived 9/11. We survived Sandy. We survived a lot, man. You know, we survived the Spanish flu in the 1920s. We can survive this too. But one of the things I want to say is, you know, this country got to upgrade the infrastructure, man. Manhattan and the boroughs have been susceptible to these type of water events. Been susceptible to that. Brooklyn is right off, Kings Highway is right off the water. Rockaway, right off the water. You know, Whitestone, right off the water. I mean, you know, if you reach down over the railing, you can put your finger in the water. The Hudson, River Park Towers, right off the Hudson. You know, man, we got to do a better job, man. You know, we got to ask more of our elected officials, especially that bum that everybody had faith in putting in office. And I'm not really seeing the response from him about the, you know, financial capital of the world that he should have. He should be knee deep in it with us. Him and Kamala. Kamala know how to dance. Does she know how to bail some water? You know what I mean? Biden know how to forget stuff. Do he know how to enact that FEMA money though? And help people out with their insurance? Because I know the insurance companies are going nuts right now. They can't possibly have all the money that everybody needs to rebuild their lives, especially in a city of almost 10 million people. And then what's happening with the immigrants? We were overrun with almost 500,000 immigrants. Where are they? Did they get swallowed out by the deluge of water? What's going on with them, and what's going on with our Skid Row people? Hella people. Times Square, right there in the Port Authority bus terminal. All the subway stations that people just sit in because they ain't got nowhere else to go and there's not enough shelters to help them out. What happened to those people? That's the questions we need to be asking ourselves, man. Put it in the chat, man. What y'all think? Oh, we got comments. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Is there a way for me to send you that clip? What clip are you talking about, sweetie? Let me get it. Let me get back to your older ramen chef. Oh, yeah. You were talking about the AAT report that we just did on ramen, yeah. Sorry, I didn't get to your comment straight away. Yeah, you could send it to me. Actually, if you want, here's the link. You could come up with an avatar if you want, right? And then share the link as you come up. Let me just make sure. Let me go. Let me save it. Let me get the scroll out. Boom. Yeah. So that's the link for tonight. If you want to come backstage, I'll hook it up, and then you could share. You could do a screen presentation and share via that. You don't even have to say nothing. You could just, or you could put the link for the ramen chef in the chat, and then I'll just get it, and then we could rock out like that. You know, if you don't want to, if you scared to get on that backstage, girl. All right, let me see what she talking about. The clip of the happenings on the 4th. Can you send it to me? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. How can I make that? How can I make that available? I can share my screen and then I can pop it up once I share my screen. Because I believe, yeah. So I can share my screen, and then when I share my screen, I can pull it up, and then we can rock out like that. Let me see if I could find it. Okay. Now, if you really want to go there, if you really want to go there, there's a zombie apocalypse joint. That's even linked to it. Now, let me explain that real quick. So, when people got the jabby jab, I don't know if you got it, but according to a lot of, and Pfizer already admit this. So anybody out there that's curious about what's going on, if you were forced to get the jabby jab and you got the Pfizer joint or the Johnson & Johnson joint, there's graphene oxide in that, and it was proven that there's graphene oxide in those jabby jabs that people got that were later told that were later told that wasn't mandatory by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said you can't force people to get mandatory jabby jabs, right? So, but what also was revealed is that in graphene oxide, especially in the Moderna and Pfizer version of it, they had mRNA that they, I guess, built and tested before the Pandemic, and that particular one had a time release code inside of the graphene oxide. And that's nothing, that's not misinformation or anything like that. You can go on Moderna's TED Talk on YouTube, and they will tell you how they built the mRNA, and that part of its construction is a time release chemical in the graphene oxide. It's right on YouTube. It's a TED Talk with one of the head engineers from Moderna, and Pfizer had the original patent for Moderna had the original patent that Pfizer eventually took over and created and made millions and billions of dollars with. So, and then of course the graphene oxide can be also pinged by high frequency vibrations. So this one cat talked about how if you ping it with a high frequency vibration, it may cause some bodily side effects within people. At the very least, a lot of myocarditis. And they got hundreds of thousands of people that are suffering with myocarditis as we speak. Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. Go on a site that's called VAERS. And VAERS has a ticker, and it's actively accounting for how many people have medical emergencies because of the jab. And especially if you have a pre-existing condition, whatever it is, that is not what you want in your system at all. All right, so let me try to get to what Lady T asked me about with the emergency broadcast joint. So if I don't get you what I exactly talked about in a couple seconds ago or showed in the clip, I will show you something that has the that video embedded in it, and then you could just watch it and do your thing that way. Okay. So here's one by Daily Mail, and I'll share my screen right now and pull it up. Give me some time, family, to do that. Boom. Yeah. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay. So there we go. And let me take this little video off so that you can see it fully. U.S. will conduct nationwide tests of emergency alert system across all cell phones, TVs, radios, digital products on October 4th at 2 p.m. The nationwide alert will take place approximately 2:20 on October 4th. FCC and FEMA will conduct the test in two parts from WEA and EAS, Emergency Alert System. The purpose of the nationwide test is to warn the public about emergencies. Now, if I had another cat, I put on another cat. Oh, I do have another cat. Now, you know why that's Cap, right? That's Cap because New York City just had a whole goddamn flood. New York City just had a whole flood. And where was the emergency alert system for that? Talk black to me. Somebody talk black to me. Somebody talk melanated truth to me. Where was the emergency alert system for that? You telling me you got all type of radar and sonic testing and satellites in the sky and HARP and all of that, and you can't tell our people in the world's economic capital, that they about to face that right there. What the? And that people will be swimming looking like that. Yo, you out of control, man. You out of control, man. And if y'all vote that bum in again, if y'all get that bum another 4 years, man, y'all deserve whatever he give you, man. I got to tell y'all that for sure. But let's get back to the October 4th joint. So there it is. That's through Daily Mail. And let me see if I can get the other joint up. Because what I do with my videos is I download them ahead of time, and then I load them up when I show them. So it's hard for me to bring up the link. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to look in my archives to see if I can pull it up. I'm trying to look in my history to see if I can find where that video came from, because I downloaded it today. And I could just put the link on the screen. I could just copy the link and put the link on the screen. Hey, how my Bigo people doing, man? We on Bigo now, y'all. We on the Bigo app. We are rocking live. So let me know how I'm doing, how I'm looking. You know what I mean? Are you guys getting the point of the higher discussion? The higher discussion is your forum for exploring all things for melanated folks. You know what I mean? Because we don't get an opportunity to tell our tales. We don't get an opportunity to walk our walk. You know what I mean? So, and we often have to have mass media tell our story for us. Let me see. Let me see if I can just put it in thing. I think I found it. Hold on. No, that's the zombie piece. Hey, you want the zombie joint? Because I tell you what, if I give you the zombie joint and you go on TikTok and you find that, you're probably, you're probably going to find all the rest of the videos related to it as well. I just don't want to take too much time away from, you know, what's popping. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put the zombie joint in the copy paste. Boom. I'm gonna put the zombie joint in the lower third so that everybody can see it, get it, and arm yourself with that information. I don't think it's gonna be as fantastical as that, but there may be some health side effects with that emergency alert, because it's going to be a high frequency, high powerful alert meant to and there it is. That's the TikTok URL for the emergency alert system. Now, what's interesting about that video is that's the actual army, that's the actual military going through their, you know, closed door session, and not FEMA, CDC actually has a zombie apocalypse battle plan within their policy. Hold on, let me just show y'all. Let me play it real quick, and so y'all can see what I'm talking about, and y'all don't just think I'm going crazy. Let me stop sharing that and share this. I know I was going to get to the weird stuff, and I have a lot of that to show, but I'd rather us be informed on how we could be healthy and stay healthy rather than show y'all the crazy stuff, because, you know, the you know, the powers that be in the macro society, they got a lot of bullshit on tap, and we gotta be prepared. So here's one. This is about 10 minutes. I'm gonna let about maybe a minute spin. You'll get the gist. Real HD.
See how now let me take my ass to Google.
Look, all I'm gonna say is if you don't believe in something, very much something, I think you better start looking right now, because this shit is not a game. Like this is the U.S. military. This is the Army. Thank you, Brandon Butcher, for putting this out, because at the end of the freaking day,
you could actually go on their website and see that. That's not a game. That's really a policy on their website. And you know, and there's something called the IP36 syndrome. And what that does is it's a response for those who have a medical condition through the graphene oxide. And what they're predicting is it will influence people to, it influences your cerebral cortex and your frontal lobe. right? And it makes people feel, and it makes you dumb. So you lose the ability to use your cerebral cortex and be a conscious person, be a conscious, viable person. And not only that, but it also gives you the biting reflex. So it dulls you out as an intellect of a person, and then it gives you a biting reflex. Yeah. So that's that. And that's not cap about the IP36 syndrome. Let me put that up because I think I put that in the piece to be shown today. Let's see. Bear with me, family. Let me just move this along and pull this up. I know it's in one of the last two joints. Okay, so it's not in there. You know what? Let me just put it in the. Let me just put it in. What's the name? And then change my. And then show it to you through the. I know it's gonna pop up. Yep, it's popped up as soon as I put IP in there. Look at that. That's crazy. So Medline Plus does a overview of this, right? And Medline Plus talks about this very syndrome. So I ain't capping. This ain't misinformation. This is straight game. Okay? So let me stop sharing. IP36 syndrome. Is it on screen? Yep. Okay, good. IP36 gene deletion syndrome is a disorder that typically causes severe intellectual disability. Most affected individuals do not speak or speak few words. They may have temper tantrums, bite themselves, and exhibit crazy behavior. Most have structural abnormalities in the brain, seizures occur, and more than half of individuals with this disorder. Affected individuals have weak muscle tone, hypotonia, and swallowing difficulty, dysphagia. Yeah, there it is. You can go on Medline Plus and look this up. Now, they're also linking this, like I was saying, through the CDC, right? Here we go. Center preparedness for response. Is that on there now? No. Okay, so let me stop sharing that. And then go back to what they was doing with the peoples. There you go. Why would Medline Plus put something on there about IP36 gene deletion syndrome, and then CDC got this up here? And this is actual policy on their website. So I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 10 minutes long, but you see it here. And in the syndrome, what it's told is that you have the people who suffer from it have an over tendency to bite. Let us know what you think about that, man. Let us know what you're prepared to do and how you're prepared to help yourself. I have a couple other things I want to show you. Laughter is the best medicine, right? So I probably won't get to the weird stuff. I probably won't. I want to, because a lot of it's straight funny, hella funny. But I want to talk about and show some other stuff. Laughter is the best medicine. And some of the weirdness that took place during the flood needs to be highlighted. And you know, I'm gonna put up everything I can. Let's see, because some of it is video and some of it is. So, you know, a lot of things got, you know, affected and compromised during the flood. And one of the things was the zoo. And some sea lions got loose from the zoo because of the water overflowing. And what happened to the rest of the animals in the zoo? Crazy, man. So right there on the screen that you see, and you see by the headline, sea lion escapes enclosure. What? Due to New York City flooding. How many other animals on the low escape enclosure? Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but you know New York got them rats, man. That's one of the things. If you a New Yorker and you got that, you know, you live there long enough, you're gonna come across them rat things. And they bold. You know, they want them goodies. You know what I'm saying? They'll run up on you quick. And here's a little example of how if the people are suffering, the vermin and the animals are suffering too. If the people are suffering, right, and they can't make headway of things, heads or tails, because of the craziness, imagine what's going on with these rats. Is that an instant alleyway for them to run up on you when this thing starts gushing through the subway system? Crazy, man. Yo, imagine what's in that. Yeah? Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Now, I don't know if this is true, but this brother was going for his. Did some gators escape the zoo? His brother was going crazy on them gators. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that that's true. I think that is a picture of, I think that was photoshopped. I think that was edited. But gators are becoming more and more throughout South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, more and more emboldened, coming on land. You heard about the woman that got snatched up and half her body was, you know, being digested by the gator, and the gator was walking all around town, digesting her body and shit. Crazy. So that was that. All right, we got 2 comments. Let's see. Right. Everybody was kung fu fighting. He was not trying to go out. He was trying to let it be known. Y'all can come for some of this. But I got something for that ass, you know. So we got sea lions, we got gators, we got rats, and we got a little video that we might want to check out. Laughter is the best medicine. Not sure this is real or not, but it's worth taking a look at. Some phenomena that could happen as a result of the flooding. Check it out, Real HD Show. Yo! All right, man. That's nuts. That's nuts. Octopuses crawling inside of parking garages. What Co-op City doing? What Left Rack doing? What Rochdale doing? Come on now. You know? Come on now. That's crazy. So we got that going. And then we got a moment that was kind of prophesized. You know, let me not even go to that. Let me go to something else. Last but not least, because we're gonna get ready to get out of here. In about a half. And you know, what time is it? It's almost a half, almost 9:30. Yeah, almost 9:30. So we're gonna jump into this clip. You know, New Yorkers are crazy. I love them, man. You know, they full of that. They full of that crazy sauce. And only in New York where you see something like this. In the midst of a flood, in the midst of catastrophic weather, somebody love theyself so much that they gonna pop off like this.
Let's get it. I'm Millie Rock on any block.
Look how I hate Brooklyn I'm leaving because why my sister sent me this.
You Can't Stop the Rain. She Millie rocking to You Can't Stop the Rain. Only in New York, man. I love my hometown. Only in New York where you see that. That's bananas on roller skates. That's bananas. Truly, literally, bananas on roller skates. Yeah, man. So we love our peoples in New York. I'm not gonna even go to the weird and crazy stuff. I'll save that for Wednesday. That's more, I guess, focused and concentrated for Wednesday when we do more of a laid back sort of segment, laid back sort of show. You know, if the alien graphene oxide people came and got me, if I'm not blasting off Wednesday night. I don't think so, because I didn't take the jabby jab. But you know, things may come out the sewers and it may flood up here in the rock. Who knows? You know, world is crazy. Anyway, so we want y'all to know that we love y'all. We want y'all to take advantage of all of the matter of fact, let me put that on the screen one more again so that anybody who just caught the show can see what the resources are if you are in New York and you're faced with the crazy of last weekend and it impacted you for real. I got mad people in New York, mad loved ones, mad family, mad friends, mad people I grew up with, high school folk, junior high school folk that I love dearly, and I don't want to see nothing happen to none of them. So if any of y'all got displaced by this is what you do. You can go to the Red Cross, contact them for help. There's a shelter map here. I'll pop it on. Hopefully you guys can still see this. Yeah. Okay, great. That's popping up too. That's awesome. So there's a shelter map. You can go on that website and find a shelter near you if you are displaced from your home. Let's go back to the resources. So you got Catholic Christian Charities that can help. NYC 311, NYC.gov, BMCC, and the city. You can contact those entities and they will lead you to ways that you can help yourself if you are put out by the natural disaster before New York City. Stress and mental health assistance. SAMHSA, SAMHSA, give mental health counseling and relief. And you can also contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. NAMI, MAMI, also has resources. Insurance, you can contact the National Flood Insurance Program. I think the FDIC helps them back insurance companies. So in case you have a house or a car or something like that, that insurance company will insure, that may be an outlet for you as well. General info about flooding, because it's still ongoing. We saw that house, and that house was like, people were sleeping in that house and it got flooded and the windows broke and all type of crazy chaos. So NewYorkCity.gov flooding, CDC.gov floods, NYC and floods, and understanding flood insurance. Man, we need to love on each other. We need to be there for one another. We need to do what we need to do to make ourselves and develop ourselves and help ourselves through these catastrophes. I hope I'm doing my part, or I'm doing enough of my part, by broadcasting this stuff on my show. I'm broadcasting to 5 Facebook channels, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Bigo Live. I'm everywhere, hoping that people get these resources. And if you're somebody from out of state and you'd like to help, please contact those agencies and donate. People need you. There's almost 10 million people going through it in the NYC. We ain't that severity that we can't take the help. You know, we love y'all. And I'm going to say peace and walk with power. And I'm going to get on out of here. Catch me on Wednesday after the emergency broadcast alert. We will chop it up about that. And we will do crazy, weird news on Wednesday. Peace, y'all. Love y'all. Y'all be good. Love on each other. All right. We out. Oh, we got one more. Yeah. Good night. Peace, sis.